Hello everyone, welcome to Code Language. In this video, we're gonna do a little exercise on JavaScript arithmetic operators. We know that includes addition, division, multiplication, but we'll be focusing a lot more on the multiplication side, right? So we're gonna try to create a nice little currency converter. Okay, it's not gonna look as fancy as this one, but we just want to see the background, a JavaScript code that will work in the background and print out what we needed to print out. Okay, so the whole idea is that when the user enters a specific amount in US dollars, we want the rate for about 4 different currencies to all print at one time. Okay, so we could just see them at just one time based on whatever amount in dollars is entered in here. Okay, so we're going to use a JavaScript to display that. Now this video is designed for those who are at beginner level in JavaScript. It's not going to be a complicated video. It's just for us to understand, to be able to read the code and know exactly what it's doing. That is very important for beginners. All right. Later on, we will have other videos that will show you more complicated stuff, but this is for beginners in JavaScript. All right. So let's go ahead and go to our Visual Studio Code. I really like using this software. It's really good for those of you that are starting to code. All right, download the Visual Studio Code and you're gonna love it. All right, so I will start off by declaring a variable called US dollar. Okay, and I'm just gonna set it to 1 for now. All right, and then I'm gonna declare another variable. Let's say Ghana rate. So we're gonna do one for Ghana currency. Right now, I think the Ghana currency, let's see how much it's trading at right now. Let's see here. I think it's about 11 something. Okay, 1181. Okay, so let's set this one right now to 1181. Okay, and then we want to create another one for Australia rate. Okay, I think we could do Australia, right? Or should we do, yeah, let's do Australian rate. Let's see what the Australian rate is at right now. Australian dollar is 1.59. Okay, it's 1.59 right now. Let's do one for maybe Chinese, right? Maybe the Chinese rate. Okay. What is the Chinese rate at? The Chinese rate, which is the Chinese yuan. It's at 7.23 right now. So let's do 7.23, and then let's do one more. What can we do? Maybe like Mexican. So let's see the Mexican rate. Let's see what the Mexican rate. Mexico is a little bit higher, I think. Mexico pesos is 20.13. Okay, so it's very important that I point this out. Okay, the currency rate fluctuates very, very often. Okay, it changes like almost every second or every half a second. Okay, so right now as we're looking at this rate could be changing, fluctuating up and down. Okay, now just for demo purposes, we just needed some numbers to be able to write this code. All right, but this rates in real time will be changing quite frequently. Okay, almost every second. I think in some cases it changes. I think almost every second, sometimes every minute, sometimes every 30 minutes, sometimes every hour. So it's always changing on a consistent basis. So even after you've done watching this video, there's a chance you go in there and check the rate and it might differ. Okay, but just for demo purposes, we're just gonna try to put some numbers in there, assuming at this very moment this is the rate for these four currencies, relative to the US dollar, right? Okay, so we're gonna now start to create something called a constant. All right, so we're gonna say we want the Ghana cedi. Let me see. Okay, let's create a variable called Ghana cedi. Okay, so we're gonna create a variable called Ghana cedi, but this time it's gonna be a constant, and we're gonna say we want to find what the Ghana cedi rate is. So we're gonna set it to US dollar. Okay, and then we're gonna apply our arithmetic multiplication here, and then we're gonna multiply it by the Ghana rate. All right, the current Ghana rate. Okay, and I could put this over here. Okay, so what this is gonna give us, if we console or print this out, it's gonna print the current rate of the Ghana cedi relative to the US dollar, simply meaning that it will cost us 11.81 Ghana cedi to get a US dollar. All right, so let's do the same for the Australian dollar. Okay, and we're gonna set that to US dollar, and we're gonna multiply that by the Australian rate right here. Okay, and then oops, wait a minute, and then we're gonna create one hang on a minute, it's an error. Okay, now we're gonna create another constant, and then let's do Chinese yen, right? Chinese yen, and let's equate it to the US dollar times the Chinese rate. Okay, so we're using constant because we're not going to be changing this manually. We're not going to be changing the variables here manually. This system has to stay constant in order for us to calculate the rates. Okay, let's do the Mexican pesos, and let's equate that to the US dollar, and then we're gonna multiply that by the Mexican rate. All right, so we now have our four currencies. We have these variables set up. All right, now we want to console them, console log, or we're going to print them out right here and then test this converter out to see how it actually works, right? So we're going to say let's say we want to console log the rate for Ghana cedi. Okay, so we're going to say something like console log, and then we're going to open this up, and I'm going to do the interpolate. Is it interpolate or interpolate? All right, and I'm going to set this here. Oops, wait a minute. I'm going to say why don't we use the US dollar? Okay, and I'm going to use another US dollar. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to put the US dollar in here. Okay, let me close this one out, and then I'm going to say something like US dollars right now is equal to we're gonna do Ghana cedi. We're gonna do that, and I'm gonna put the Ghana cedi in here, right here, Ghana cedi. Alright, then I'm gonna put a period over here, and maybe close this guy out. Okay, so we can now run the code if we want to see what the rate is at $1 for Ghana cedi. Okay, so when I go ahead and do this, you can see here it's saying that $1 US right now is equal to 11.81 Ghana cedis. All right, so this prints out to the console. So let's go ahead and do it for the other ones, and then after that we're gonna test out the code to make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to be. I'm just gonna go ahead and copy and just change the variables. Oh, actually this one should stay the same, so because it's relative to the US dollar. Okay, so we're gonna say this US dollars, or the US dollar amount right now is equivalent to, let me change this to, let's do Australian, and then I'm gonna change this to Australian dollar. Okay, Australian dollar. All right, let's do, oh, what did I just do? Let me go and undo. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm gonna do this right here, and then I'm gonna change this to the Chinese. I don't know if that's a symbol for Chinese yen, but hey, let's just do it that way for now. All right, this would be our Chinese yen. All right, and then we're gonna do one more for the Mexican peso. Is it pesos or peso? I think it's peso. Mexican peso. All right, Mexican peso. Okay, so right now we have all these consoles set up. Okay, so if we enter in $1 and we run the code, I'm just gonna go ahead and clear this one out. When we run the code, you see what happens. So at one glance we see the rate for $1 and how much we're gonna get in Australian currency, in Ghana currency right here, in Chinese currency, in Mexican currency. Okay, and here is the fun part. Okay, so if we enter in 100, right? If we enter in $100, we want to know how much am I gonna get in all these different currencies. If I have $100, oops, I'm just getting a phone call right now. Let me dismiss it. Okay, so how much will I get? Okay, instead of me having to do all this calculation manually, we already have this JavaScript code that's gonna do the calculation for us. Okay, so I just changed it from $1 to 100. So I'm gonna run the code, and here we are. I just run the code, and here we are. So at $100, we're gonna get 1,181 Ghana cedi. We're gonna get 159 Australian dollar. Okay, right here, 159. We're gonna get 723 yen, Chinese yen, and then 2013 Mexican peso. Okay, so yeah, see how simple that is. This is how you apply JavaScript arithmetic. Of course, again, like I said, this is just the multiplication part, but I just wanted to apply to a real world. Okay, so we created our little cute currency converter here, right? Isn't that cute? Now, remember I told you how fast. Let me go ahead and clear this console. Remember I told you that the rates here can vary and can change very, very quickly. It changes almost every second. Sometimes it could change maybe in every hour, every 30 minutes, every minute, but it changes quite often. It fluctuates quite often. So there are times when you can have your $100, but the rate can change on you, right? So let's say now the rate is up to, let's say, 15, right? 15.81 for the Ghana cedi, right? So if we run it right now, we can see right here that it's, $100 is now equivalent to 1,581 Ghana cedi, right? Before, if we change this, let's say we have one, let me just keep it 100. So let's say if we have this at 10, if the rate goes down to 10.81 and we run it, okay, look at the difference. This is the previous one. Now look at that. Do you see that there is a drop? Okay, there is a drop. All right, so that means that we need only 1,081 Ghana cedi to get the dollar. Oh, to get $100. Sorry, right here, because we have $100. Okay, you see that? So we need 159 to get 100 US dollars. 159 Australian dollars to get 100 US dollars. All right, so I think you're getting the concept, right? So we're just entering one data here, and then it's giving us, it's doing all that. Let me clear this. Sometimes it gets a bit claustrophobic down here sometimes. Okay, so you can see what's happening here. All right, so in order for us to get real-time data, we will have to replace this right here with the JavaScript code that will give us the real-time rates, the real-time market rates, and then it will do the calculation for us. Right, so we'll put 200 here. It checks for the current rate, and then it will print the information for us down here. Okay, so we created our little cute currency converter. Okay, but what if, man, I'm getting a lot of spam calls. I'm getting spam calls. You guys get spam calls? Oh, look at that. They're still calling me even after I've declined. I get a lot of spam calls. It's so annoying. Do you guys get spam calls? All right. So let's say that we want to know whenever the rate hits a specific. Let's use the Ghana cedi for example. So let's say if the rate hits 15, then we want to print out an alert to let us know that, hey, this is a good time for us to send money to Ghana, right? Because when we do that, we will get a lot more Ghana cedi for relative to the, the dollar amount we're sending. So let's say we want to add an if statement that will alert us anytime the rate hits 15, right? Right now is at 10.81. So let's add an if statement. Okay, so we're going to say if the Ghana rate is greater or equal to 15 is greater or equal to 15, then I want you to console log, or I want you to print the Ghana city rate is now let me use this right here. It's now Ghana rate. Okay. Good time to send money to Ghana. All right. Okay. So what we're saying here, the if statement is going to check whenever these rates are fluctuating in the market. Remember, this rate will be fluctuating in the market, but whenever it's fluctuating and at any time, if it hits, if the Ghana city rate hits 15, or if it exceeds 15, we want to print this message to the user. Okay, so right now the rate is at 10. All right, so when the user comes in and enter, let's say the user entered 250 and we run the code, if you notice, this message did not print out. Why is it that? Because the rate is below 15. It doesn't meet or match this condition right here. Okay, all right, we want to make sure as soon as this condition is met, this message will be printed out. So let's say that the rate came all the way up to 15.81, right? So if we run the code one more time, we notice that this time around, see right here, the message was printed. So this function here, or this script here, this JavaScript checked for the Ghana rate and notice that it's above 15, and then it printed out this message to the user. Okay, so this is just a little bit of something I just added to the end of it. All right, but the main purpose of this video was to to apply our JavaScript arithmetic operator. We've mainly focused on multiplication. All right, so again, like I said, this video is for JavaScript beginners, those of you that are looking to sharpen your skills. Again, like I said, whenever you learn something, try to apply it to the real world. Okay, try to apply your knowledge to the real world. Don't just memorize stuff and sit on it. Okay, let me run this code one more time. Let me clear this and run. Okay, so we went back to the original rates at $1 right here. Okay, wait a minute, what happened here? It looks like, oh yeah, okay, so the rate is still above 15.81. okay, all right, so that's fine. All right, that makes sense. All right, so guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe. I'm gonna be posting a lot more videos like this. I hope you find it useful and helpful. I will see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day and bye.